Mail call. So I got a package from Midway, USA. It's to cousin Jay Marshall. That's me. I am a cousin to Charlie Brass Stuffer, Charles Irby, and he just thinks he has to take care of his little cousin. Um, Actually, we're probably third cousins, twice removed, or whatever. I mean, it goes back to grandparents' days, but I got this. I pretty much know what it is. And before I open it, Red Raider Reloading sent me this cool 358156 Lyman mold. It's 2 cavity. It will go with my 358156 1 cavity that I purchased last June. I love this design. It's a really killer Ray Thompson design, which is based similar to a Elmer Keith design. Elmer Keith pretty much dealt with the 44 size, but Ray Thompson is the one that designed this one. It was pretty well beat up. I mean, you see the handles have been burned. Don't even know what type of handles. Somebody said Seiko, somebody said old Lyman. I don't know. They work good. They're really solid and they fit well, and they're just the right size to where the mold has a little bit of float. So when you close that up, the pins will go right together. One of the problems I had with this 1 cavity is the screw that holds the sprue plate down. It's got a lock screw right here on the side. It was pretty well boogered out. I can't get it tightened up enough to lock this screw in for the sprue plate. So after about 4 or 5 casts, the screw just comes loose, and then I start getting leading here because my sprue plate isn't cutting properly. So with the addition of this new mold, new used mold, thank you again, Red Raider Reloading, for sending that. And I keep these together. I started dressing it up a little bit yesterday. You can see I've got a little bit of polishing going here. I've got an occlusion right here in between the 2 bullets, but I think it's down low enough I can't drag a fingernail across it and feel it. So I didn't want to take any more metal off. I was just polishing this basically just to see where my high and my low points were. I don't want to do too much or I'll get out of round bullets. And I can't see any daylight through any of the corners, but I didn't have any handles. So good old cousin Charlie, he says, well, we'll take care of that. And I said, no, I'll get it. And he said, no. He says, check your mail. So yeah, he's not going to let me take care of it myself. So love you, Charlie. You're one of the best things that's happened in my life. Before I go any farther, I just want to say that since I joined the Reloaders Network and met all of these awesome people on here, my life has made a turn for the better, and I've been enriched by the friendships and the connections that I've made. So some people have a problem with the Reloaders Network. Myself, I look at all of the good things that have happened to me. So Charlie sent me this mold rebuild kit for double cavity, and what I will be doing is, let's see if I can get these out without losing them. The mold that Red Raider Reloaders sent me didn't have any screws for the handles, so here's the screws for that. I'll use those. And here's the sprue plate, which this one doesn't look too bad, but I'll probably just change it out anyway since I've got it. And the screw and for the sprue plate, the little washer for it and the set screw, I will use those on my old mold, and that should make it a lot nicer. So Charlie also sent me I don't think there's anything else in there. Some Lyman 6-cavity handles. Some of the guys that have been getting their handles have said that they are offset. And I'm looking, yep, sure enough, a little bit of an offset right there. So I think I can fix that in my vise. I'll see how these fit first. Okay, they're nice and tight, just the right size. So let me put this together, and I'm going to clean up this mold a little bit, and we'll see what we come out with. But it doesn't feel bad. If it's offset at all on the tips here, it's not much. And since these are steel, they can be tweaked a little bit. And I may just tweak this one down a little bit and this one up a little bit. So you don't need to hear all the pounding and stuff. So I'll get on that, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, since I'm doing this myself, bad camera work. Okay, now you can see maybe just a little bit of an offset. This top one is offset this way, and this bottom one is offset that way. Not much, but I don't know. One of the things that I can say about the guys is they've made me OCD about everything. So, yeah, I just want to make sure that I've got they're dead level here. And I keep moving the mold out of the frame. So, there's this. It's got a little bit of a low spot right here. But I think once that heats up, the metal expands, it'll be okay. And maybe you can see that occlusion right here. But like I said, I didn't want to do too much with my jeweler's files. All I was doing basically is taking off any sharp edges or any high ridges that may have occurred over the years with using this. And I didn't want to take too much off. All I was basically doing is polishing it. You see my strokes here with the file. But I think once this gets hot, it'll expand enough to where I won't have any finning or anything on this bullet right here. This one here should come out great, but this one here, I could get a little bit of finning right here where the occlusion is. So we'll see once I get casting on it. Hopefully this weekend, if the weather holds out, because I have to do this out in the carport. And I'm just really excited. I love this bullet design. It shoots really great in 38 and 357. I've got a bunch of them that I've been shooting, and I plan on doing a lot more shooting. They come out really nice. No, that's a Tin Man. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the process of loading up some 38. So I've got some Tin Man bullets here, and then I've got some others that Gramps sent me. And then I've got some others that I've already cast with my 1-cavity mold, and we'll see how that works out. Okay, let me tweak on these tips just a little bit. I mean, if you look, you can see that I can get a little bit of a bend on them. They're, like I say, they're steel, so I should be able to tweak these without too much pounding. But yeah, I'm not gonna subject you guys to the noise. Okay, so I've got the 2-cavity mold rebuilt. Got the new sprue plate on here. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that it's firm but not too tight. So it took a little bit of tweaking and adjusting, and loosen this screw up, then tighten or loosen this one till you get smooth movement. But at the same time, when you look up at the light, you're not getting any light through there, so that you're getting a good clean cut. So another thing that I've done is I've swabbed the bullet cavities out with mineral oil. You can still see a little bit of discoloration in there. I'll keep swabbing that out with mineral oil. Again, this is an old mold, So the condition of it, we're not sure, but I've swabbed the whole entire mold and the handles with mineral oil, and especially down in these screws. Then I wiped it off, and I'll put a little bit more on, treat it. But because I lubricated through this joint area and across this bolt and the nut, and again through here, you can see that these handles move relatively smooth now. The other ones that I'm working on, I got my old one here, and I'm trying to get these handles smooth. They're tight, but they're not binding or anything. And as you can see, I've torn this one apart. This mold here, I've never really done anything to. It was in really good condition when I got it. It had some lead down in where the handle holes are. So now I've taken this all apart and I've cleaned it all up, and you can see the mineral oil just glistening on this. You want to put some kind of coating on your molds when you put them away for storage. And I had used WD-40 in the past, but that's not a real reliable solution. And yeah, you see some lead on here too. See, when a mold gets used, little pieces of lead get splattered on there. So I'll clean that all up before I put it back together. But and you see my little jeweler's file here. Just very lightly. Just, you don't want to go too hard on any of this. And as you can see, you might see just a little bit of file markings on there. It's very slight. I'm not taking any metal down. All I'm doing is relieving any of the machining marks, because if you can see through here, you can see the machining marks going this direction. And I was kind of going across those just to minimize those, so that my sprue plate will be a lot smoother and not bind, not hang up on anything. And I've done the same thing to this one. You can see, I don't know if I get this to focus, you can see where I kind of filed that down a little bit. I've done all the way around this just to take some of the patina off, but not really to remove any metal. And I haven't done the mold faces at all, because these things are perfect. I mean, that's one of the dangers to using a steel mold. Steel is a lot softer than people think, and you drop something on that face right there, you're going to have what I've got here on this one. If I can get it to focus, a small occlusion right there. And you can see it just because of me going across the face with my file. It brought out that occlusion right away. And I didn't want to take too much metal off. I'm going to cast with this, and I'll see if I get any finning with this one particular bullet. If I do, then I might have to come back in with my file and take just a little bit more off. That occlusion really isn't very deep. You can't even feel it with your fingernail. So that is probably going to be a good deal. Now, mineral spirits are your best friend with these. You can dose it and leave them sit, and then when you go to heat them up, when you're getting ready to cast, that mineral spirits will burn right off. So it'll protect your wow, this thing just doesn't want to focus at all. It will protect your steel from rusting. Now, I live in a relatively dry climate. I think right now we got 15% humidity, which is kind of high for us. A lot of times we're down in single digits for humidity, but this is being winter. We get sometimes up to 25 or 30% humidity, and that's a lot for us, but it is what it is. But anyway, even in a dry climate, I still want to coat these. Oh, and the arms, my mold, I just put them here in my vise, gave a little bit of a tweak, and they came out perfect. Tweaked one
one direction, the other one another direction. They come out just perfect. I put a straight edge across them, couldn't rock it, so I knew that was perfect. And they close just effortlessly, and I don't see any movement uh, up or down in the mold halves, so the pins won't get worn out too fast. Okay, well, I'm expecting more packages today. I've got some targets coming, some steel targets that I ordered from Dragon Targets, and I have a mystery gift coming. So as soon as UPS gets here, maybe I'll put that in. But other than that, this is what I'm doing with my molds, and hopefully I'll be casting with them this weekend. Yeah, they're both the same profile. So that means if I'm using two different molds, I can get 3 bullets at a time. That's a lot faster than just using a single. But I love this single. It's really nice and handy, but it takes a long time to cast a bunch of bullets. So with my 2 cavity and my 1 cavity, thumbs up. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I wanted to point out one other thing on in cleaning up the bullet chambers. Take a bronze cleaning rod, cleaning brush. This one here is 40. You can use almost any size, but you want to get in here and just rotate it, and the bristles will get down between these driving bands, and it'll get any kind of dirt um, and corrosion out of there. And just slick it up really good with mineral spirits, and then do that. You can use mineral oil too. I just had mineral spirits. It's a paint thinner, mineral spirits paint thinner, and that's going to loosen up the dirt and the oxidation. And you'll see that there's a bit of an olive color to these chambers, and that's the lead oxide that's worked its way into the metals. And you just keep rotating it back and forth. You don't have to push hard, because these little itty bitty little bristles will do their job, but you don't want to do it too much either. Even though that's bronze and it's softer than steel, it will still eventually wear down those drive bands, and once those drive bands wear down, your bullet's not going to perform as well. So as long as they're nice and sharp. Now again, Q-tip, just rotate it back and forth, and then also clean your expansion cuts here. That's what these are for. These cuts in the steel mold, they're for the heating and contraction, expanding and contraction of the as the mold heats and cools. And do both of them. If you have any burrs, it's going to snag the fibers off of the Q-tip. But these look pretty good. I'm going to call this a win. These should cast up really well once I clean that out. Oh yeah, it's getting a really nice shine in there. And again, just patience and perseverance will eventually work out in your favor. The mineral spirits, as I've said, once these molds heat up, that will evaporate off and cook off. So by the time you're at casting temperatures, then you're going to be in good shape. This should all be out of there, and you won't have any gassing. But I'm going to leave the mineral spirits on the surface of the metal to protect it, and when I get ready to cast, I'll wipe it down. Okay, just want to give you that little tip. I hope some of this was helpful, but look how smooth those are now. I mean, this sprue plate, I mean, it's not flopping, but it's smooth. I don't feel it binding or hanging up on anywhere on this mold surface here. Like I said, I touch this up lightly with my jeweler's file. I've got to put back these 1 cavity handles, and we'll see how that turns out. It's got 2 holes in there. I didn't even notice it. Okay, well, I'm going to clean everything out, but you guys don't need to be bored by that. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope some of this helped.